You're watching Telecom TV's exclusive video coverage of the Gen 15 event from Dallas. And I'm joined now by Ariel Efrati, who is CEO of Telco Systems. Ariel, good to meet you.
Nice meeting you, Guy.
Can I ask, if today's OSS, BSS infrastructure lacks the ability to support these new dynamic connectivity services we're talking about here, what needs to be done?
I'm not sure that the question around OSS and BSS is the right question, because I think that OSS and BSS are quite flexible. The main issue is how you close the loop with the network itself to enable you those functional capabilities and those dynamics. The dynamics they're looking for is the ability to get into layer 7. When you look at layer 7 is the way that today you're providing the service. Now, for example, what we do with the ETSI proof of concept with Telco Systems, this is an ETSI together with Orange, with Cisco, Intel, and NetRounds, is the ability to measure the real performance of an application, the ability to get into the packet itself and to know how it performs when it delivers the service at the end of the source. And that is very important. Now, this is a capability you want to expose to the OSS and BSS. That will enable the BSS and OSS to be very instrumental to create those dynamic services.
Tell me again about when you say closing the loop, what do you mean by closing the loop?
Closing the loop is about the ability to define something in the OSS and BSS and the ability to deliver it and to measure it all through the network when their service is being provided. And not just define a policy without the ability to enforce it. Okay, so that is very important when you are looking with a real service, with a real something that needs to be provided to a customer. And this is closing the loop.
The proof of concept work you've done, what are the conclusions that came out of that? What have you discovered and where will you take it next?
I think first of all, it's the ability to work with a multi-vendor, which is openness. It's the ability to integrate a lot of capabilities from different vendors. So that was a key element to prove that it can work, and the fact that we can work as I would say a community to give a solution. The other thing is the ability to expose those capabilities that resides within the hardware, but also on the software that resides on the hardware, to expose this kind of advanced services. And I think that proved both to Orange, which is an operator, both to us as a hardware and software device manufacturer, and as well to other application vendors, that we can work in collaboration to expose these dynamic services. And it can work. And nowadays, and it's not something which is too futuristic and too, I would say, imaginary.
Well, we talk a lot at the moment about virtualizing network functions. We're looking at NFV, but how do we go about introducing and supporting this new architecture when we already have vast legacy infrastructure in place?
I think that's really the $1 billion question, because everybody speaks about a pure solution, a greenfield solution. This is not really a reality. You have to work on a hybrid approach, and a hybrid approach is when the rubber meets the road, when you want to make sure that you introduce new enhancements, those dynamic capabilities, the ability to introduce new functions in places they never existed before, right? And together to coexist with the current systems. So the way to go about it is to take, like, for example, we have the AGNA orchestrator. So it's a kind of a network management layer that abstract the layer and the capabilities from other orchestrators, OSS and BSS. We add to that a lot of, for example, netconf. Netconf is a capability to open up the services. All our devices are supporting that already. But some other actually are preferable to use OpenStack, or maybe using OpenDaylight and others. So what we have done, because our orchestrator is quite dynamic, we integrated new, I would say, plugins to go and to orchestrate as well other new advanced solutions like OpenStack based or maybe OpenFlow based. And this is the example of how, and the orchestrator actually encapsulates that. It's indifferent. So as a user, you don't care whether you're using a more advanced layer or a more, I would say, legacy concept. And then you can mesh up the services together.
We talk a lot about open solutions in this industry, but what do we mean when we say open?
It's an overused term. Everybody speaks about open. And to be honest, we spoke about open like 10 years ago. So open was always there. People use it in a different terminology. I was just sitting yesterday with an ATT executive and asked him, what is open for you? And I think he said it right. You know what? Open is not the right word that we're looking for. It's not about open source, it's not about something like that. It's the ability not to be tied up to one solution, to one approach. Many vendors, mainly to be honest, many of the large vendors want to have a lock-in to you. Okay, we are not as big as the large vendors, and it plays into our, advantages, because we believe that being open is the ability to integrate and to coexist together. Now, there needs to be a standard. Think about it. When you roam today with your device, you don't care whether you're crossing an Orange network, an AT&T network. It's transparent to you. That's what you want as well in this field. You want to be able to go and move from one functions to another. Now, NFV adds a lot of functions, but you want that this function will play everywhere you want. Now, a lot of the large vendors want to give you an open feeling, but still you will be very much locked in. And the reason is because this is their wishful thinking. And I think that nowadays the operators get that. They want to create the ability for them to go and do a best of breed without paying the integration costs. And this is a key element here. And this is how I coin open. So open is not free. Open is the ability to be free. And that's the difference.
Excellent. Ariel, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Guy.